strong.
Welcome back to Crypto for Freedom, where we talk about gaining financial freedom through the cryptocurrency markets. Today, we're talking about when is the best time to buy Dogecoin. If you want to know the best time to buy Dogecoin, make sure to smash the like, subscribe to the channel, and stick around to the end of the video to find out. All right, man, we're looking at the chart here today. Bitcoin, as you can see, the key over here, the yellow line is the halving, the green is the peak, and the red is the bottom. And historically, we've seen 540 days past the peak of the market. 540 days past the halving. We've seen the peak of the market, and that's happened multiple times, including most recently. We saw a peak for the market in October of 2024. And as you can see, Bitcoin likes to enter in this descending triangle, making a wedge to the downside. And every single time this has happened, it's kind of rode the top line before it eventually fell to the bottom line. And I think right now we're getting ready to ride this top line and just fall straight to the bottom line. Now, there's a lot of confluence suggesting this, and it looks like we finally have made a lower low, finding a low here at November and finding a new low here. Now we still have to break this low over here for more confirmation, but I think that's going to be coming sooner than later. We'll go ahead and mark that line on the chart so we can see here with the horizontal ray. So once the price comes below 74,880, which we just swept that essentially on this last dip, the next low after that, we could be seeing the price come all the way down to 52,967, coming down to this low. And there actually is quite a bit of confluence. If we take the volume range profile, you can see that, we just kind of swept right through this volume range right here, and we should be finding some sort of support here in this volume, so we might end up coming back up. And then after that, I could see the price slicing right down through this huge volume gap right here. There's not a whole lot of buying, and I'm going to put another horizontal ray right here. And I think the bottom of the market for Bitcoin could be around $42,816 by October. Now, we are looking for a big capitulation. If we turn on the 50-week moving average and the rest of the moving averages, we can see that we just broke through the 50-week, and we haven't broke through the 100-week. Actually, we just broke through the 50-week and the 100-week, and the last time that happened, we went straight down to the 200-week. So are we going to be seeing lower prices for Bitcoin? I think we're going to end up seeing some sort of relief rally here, maybe 11% up to this trend line, and then a further drop from there, down to 55,000, and it could come all the way down to 48% drop down to 42,000. Now, that's when you're going to want to start accumulating Bitcoin, you guys, once we see this big drop, this big capitulation that we've seen every time. And you want to buy in this red box over here. And, last time this red box lasted, let's pull out the date range tool, 483 days. Last time that, we had 483 days to accumulate through the bear market, as we started getting these big pumps. I mean, ideally, you'd want to accumulate down here in this box, in this circle here. That's what I did in the market. I actually wasn't even buying any over here, even though I do think that's still a good opportunity to accumulate, depending on, your dollar cost average strategy. Your dollar cost average strategy, whatever, your strategy is, you just have to, figure that out. But I do think we're going to end up seeing lower prices for Bitcoin and Dogecoin. Now, what does that mean for, For Dogecoin, let's flip over to the 1 over Dogecoin chart, and we can see that Dogecoin against Bitcoin has been finding support on this downward line here, actually making a head and shoulders pattern, which I do believe, we could end up seeing this head and shoulders pattern play out and, end up seeing Dogecoin lose a lot more value against Bitcoin. That's why I keep saying, I want to see you guys get into Bitcoin and then wait to buy your Dogecoin till later on, because, taking the price target from this head and shoulders pattern and to the breakdown, we could see that, we could end up having Doge lose a lot more value against Bitcoin. And last time, we held this line. When we finally broke through it, we started back testing it as resistance. So maybe we actually stay up here for a little while and just back test it as resistance until we finally have a capitulation where, you're going to end up wanting to buy Bitcoin and then hold your Bitcoin, trade a little bit of that Bitcoin for Dogecoin at the right time. That way you can, keep your value in Bitcoin and, stay higher up on the risk curve and not go out so far out on the risk curve. Now, if we lay a bars pattern over for this, second 7-year pattern, you can see that, that pretty much brings the time to buy out over here in April of 2028. Now, if you're trying to accumulate Dogecoin and that's the plan for you, then, maybe you just wait for Dogecoin to get down into this box again and you just start buying heavy. Maybe that's your plan. Maybe you don't care what Bitcoin is worth, or what Dogecoin is worth against Bitcoin. But in my opinion, Bitcoin dominance is staying way up here. And, so Bitcoin is king, and it's going to continue to be king, especially with the institutional adoption, nation state adoption, everything happening right before our eyes. But, ultimately, I do think that, we are going to be seeing this inverse head and shoulders for the 1 over Doge Bitcoin chart play out, and we're going to end up seeing a big, massive pump for Bitcoin against Doge, and end up seeing maybe a 1.5 million Dogecoin per Bitcoin, and that's where you want to trade. That's where you want to actually get into, a position in Dogecoin once the price actually moves up. Because if we take a look at what happened last time, Bitcoin bottomed out in October over here. Dogecoin bottomed out quite a bit earlier in May of 2022. So if you would have bought Bitcoin in May of 2022, instead of buying Dogecoin, so if you would have bought in May of 2022 when Dogecoin bottomed, that was right here. It was 359,000 Dogecoin for 1 Bitcoin. But if you would have bought in when Bitcoin bottomed, if you would have bought your Dogecoin when Bitcoin bottomed, you would have only got 140,000 Dogecoin for Bitcoin. So don't be fooled when Bitcoin goes to a bottom and you think that's a good time to actually buy Dogecoin, because that line coincides with right here. And what happened was it sold off even more. It sold off even more and lost a ton of value against Bitcoin. All the way over here to January, what was it, January 2024? That's when we started forming this line here. What happened with Bitcoin in January of 2024? It had just experienced a big run up. And did Doge experience a run up in January of 2024? No. We only got like a little run up. We didn't get a run up till February. So you guys have to watch this 1 over Doge Bitcoin chart to figure out when to buy in to Dogecoin and when it's best to be in Bitcoin, and not just believe that, oh, Bitcoin's bottoming out, let's buy into Dogecoin now and hope that we make a lot of money. Well, no, you should have just actually bought into Bitcoin, and then when the time was right, like back over here, when the time was right back over here in this circle, that's maybe you accumulate in this zone and you start trading in this zone. So we're waiting for we're waiting for Dogecoin against Bitcoin to break through this trend line, and then maybe we start accumulating over here. So yeah, you guys just remember to hodl and begin with the end in mind. Always have an emergency fund and have multiple streams of income coming in. Be debt free. These are the things that are going to help you win in this market. And ultimately, we should be seeing, some sort of peak happen, another peak happen for Dogecoin at some point. So maybe we just hold on. We hold on. I think that, Dogecoin won't see a new high against Bitcoin until, let's see here, until, April of 2028, May, maybe June of 2028. So it's almost time to start accumulating. Maybe next year, at the end of this year, we get Bitcoin, and then next year we get Dogecoin. So keep rocking with me, guys. If you like the channel, make sure to subscribe to the channel. Come back to the channel, smash the likes. I know this was a little bit discombobulated video today. I was just trying to, make sure to get something out for you guys, get you some of my thoughts, and I do think we're going into this, further downside for Bitcoin and further downside for Dogecoin. But ultimately, you need to be in this for the long term, and you need to have a plan. And if you fail to plan, then you plan to fail. So begin with the end in mind, you guys. Remember, none of this is financial advice, and we'll see you on the next video. Peace.